All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about the fundamentals of digital security. And it's really this constant invisible tug of war, a battle of wits between defenders trying to protect systems and attackers trying to break them. So let's get into the core principles that really govern this whole fight.
When you boil it all down, this is what security is really about. It's about trying to achieve a goal, whatever that may be, while someone else, an adversary, is actively trying to stop you. This one idea, it's the engine behind everything we're about to cover.
So think of the internet as this massive, sprawling battlefield. It's just filled with these adversaries. And information security? Well, that's the art and science of protecting our stuff in this environment. It's all about making sure our digital lives stay safe, sound, and only accessible to the people who are supposed to see them.
Now, you probably hear the terms information security and cybersecurity thrown around a lot, sometimes like they're the same thing. But there's actually a really important difference. Information security is the big picture, the whole umbrella. That includes things like locking a sensitive file in a physical cabinet. Cybersecurity is a part of that, and it's focused specifically on the digital world, using firewalls and encryption to stop hackers.
Okay, so if you're a defender, where do you even start? How do you build a strategy? Well, it all begins with this foundational model called the CIA Triad. And no, not that CIA. This one stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Let's break down what each of those really means.
First up, we've got confidentiality. And honestly, the principle is super simple. It's about keeping secrets secret. It means that information should only ever be seen by people who have permission to see it. Period.
A perfect way to think about this is your email account. When you log in, you just expect that you, and only you, can read your messages, right? That privacy, that's confidentiality in action. It's what makes sure your password is the only key that unlocks your inbox.
Next in the triad is integrity. This one is all about trust. Integrity is the guarantee that the information you're seeing is accurate and hasn't been messed with or changed by someone who shouldn't have been able to.
For instance, let's say you're filling out a job application online. You hit that submit button, and you have to trust that your resume and all your personal details get to the employer exactly as you sent them. That's integrity. It's the principle that protects that data and makes sure it arrives unaltered. And the final piece of the puzzle is availability. And this one is absolutely critical. What good is information if you can't get to it? Availability is all about making sure that systems and data are up and running, accessible to authorized users whenever they need them.
Just imagine an e-commerce site during a huge Black Friday sale. If that website goes down, that's a massive failure of availability. No one can buy anything. It leads to angry customers, lost sales. The system is basically useless if you can't actually use it when it matters most.
So, the CIA Triad is the bedrock. It's the foundation of any good defense. But a really strong fortress needs more than just a solid foundation, right? It needs layers. So let's look at a few other principles that help build a much tougher defense. This brings us to a concept called defense in depth. Look, you wouldn't protect a bank with just one lock on the front door, would you? Of course not. You'd have a fence, guards, a locked door, and then a vault inside. It's the same idea in the digital world. You layer your defenses, firewalls, then access controls, then encryption, and monitoring on top of it all. So if one layer fails, you've got another one ready to catch the threat.
Then there's the principle of least privilege, which is really just common sense when you think about it. The idea is simple. Don't give people access to things they don't absolutely need to do their job. If someone's role is just to view data, they should never, ever have permission to delete it. This seriously cuts down on the potential damage if an account ever gets compromised.
And we also have something called non-repudiation. This is a fancy term for a simple idea, making sure someone can't deny that they did something. A digital signature on a contract is the perfect example. It works just like your handwritten signature. It provides solid, verifiable proof that you and only you agreed to something.
Okay, so we've seen the defender's playbook. Now let's flip the script. Let's look at things from the adversary's point of view. How do they operate? We're going to start with their quietest, sneakiest methods: silent spying.
This is what's known as a passive attack. The whole goal here is just to gather information. The attacker wants to be a ghost in the machine, to listen in, to learn about the target, all without ever changing a single piece of data or letting anyone know they're even there. It's pure eavesdropping.
So how do they do this? Well, there are two main ways. The first one is obvious. They just read your messages.
But the second one, traffic analysis, is way more subtle. See, even if a message is encrypted so the attacker can't read it, they can still learn a ton just by watching the patterns, who you're talking to, how often, for how long. That metadata alone can be incredibly revealing.
So, just listening in is one thing, but what happens when the attacker decides they're done listening and they're ready to start acting? Well, this is where we move from spying to direct sabotage.
And that brings us to an active attack. This is exactly what it sounds like. The attacker is no longer a ghost. Now they are actively messing with the system. Their goal is to directly attack one of those CIA principles we talked about, to change data, to pretend to be someone else, or to just shut the whole system down.
Active attacks come in all shapes and sizes. An attacker might try to masquerade as a real user. Maybe they'll try to modify a message while it's being sent. Or they could even try a replay attack, where they capture data and just send it again later. And then there's the brute force approach, denial of service.
A denial of service, or DOS attack, is a head-on assault against availability. The goal is just to make a service totally unusable. Imagine an attacker flooding a bank's website with millions and millions of fake login requests all at once. They're not even trying to get in. They're just creating a digital mob that blocks the front door so that no real customers can get through. So what we have here is this endless cycle, right? You have defenders building stronger and stronger fortresses, and at the same time, you have attackers who are constantly finding new ways to tear them down. And this constant back and forth, it brings us to what might be the single most important idea in all of security.
And here it is. The most crucial takeaway is that security is never done. It is not a product you can buy off a shelf or a switch you can just flip on. It's a process. It's a continuous game of cat and mouse. Defenders design something, attackers find a flaw, defenders patch it and adapt, and the whole game starts over again, forever.
So, we've walked through the defender's playbook and the attacker's toolkit. It truly is a never-ending battle of wits. And that really just leaves us with one final and pretty important question to think about. In this crazy digital world we all live in, how strong is your fortress?